I have been dating my boyfriend, Matt, for almost 3 years now. He's kind, funny, supportive, and honestly the healthiest relationship I've ever had. But before I get into what happened at Thanksgiving, I need to explain a little about my family, specifically my dad. My dad has always been the type of man who thinks he's the smartest person in any room. He has strong opinions about everything. How to do laundry the right way, what jobs are worth having, who you should and shouldn't date, even the proper way to eat certain foods. Growing up, it wasn't all bad. He provided for us, and we never went without. But he was controlling. He'd make comments like, "No daughter of mine is going to waste her life on art classes. Boys only want one thing, so you can't trust them. You're too young to know what you want." My mom is quieter. She loves me, but she usually just goes along with whatever my dad says. My brother and sister both left home early and keep some distance from my parents. I was a good kid, the one who stayed out of trouble and tried to keep the peace. So when I started dating Matt, I knew bringing him into the family wouldn't be simple. Matt and I met at a friend's birthday party. We were the only two people there who didn't know anyone else, so we ended up talking most of the night. He made me laugh in a way that felt easy, not forced. We started dating a few weeks later, and it just clicked. He works in finance, not flashy Wall Street stuff, just steady and reliable. He's the kind of guy who remembers to pack an umbrella when the weather app says 40% chance of rain. Grounded, thoughtful. I was nervous to introduce him to my family, but he went all out, brought flowers for my mom, complimented the food, even helped my dad carry in firewood without being asked. And still, my dad hated him. At first, it was little comments. "Finance? So you just push numbers around all day. You don't look like a guy who can fix things around the house. You're probably one of those people who pays someone else to change their oil." Matt would smile politely, try to joke, or just let it roll off his back. Afterward, I confront my dad privately and ask why he was being so hard on him. His answer was always the same. "I'm just being protective. You don't really know someone until years down the line." But it didn't feel protective. It felt hostile. Over the next year, weird things started happening that didn't make sense. Matt got a fraud alert from his credit card company about a big purchase at a hardware store. It wasn't his, but the person used his exact name and billing address. We couldn't figure out how anyone would have that. A month later, Matt came home furious. Someone had called his office anonymously claiming he'd been inappropriate toward a co-worker. HR investigated and found nothing, but the rumor made things awkward for weeks. One day, a bouquet showed up at my work with a note. "You deserve better. He'll only drag you down." No name, no return address. I thought maybe it was an ex of his, or someone jealous. But Matt was as confused as I was. And deep down, something in my gut whispered a terrible possibility. By the time Thanksgiving rolled around, Matt and I had been together nearly 3 years. He'd met my siblings, who both liked him a lot. My mom seemed to like him too. But my dad, well, I could tell he was biding his time. We were invited to Thanksgiving at my parents' house. Matt was nervous but willing, and I thought maybe, just maybe, the holiday would soften things. At first, it seemed okay. My mom was bustling around with food, my siblings were joking in the kitchen, and my dad sat at the head of the table carving the turkey like a king on his throne. Halfway through dinner, my dad cleared his throat. Everyone went quiet, because that's how it always is when he decides it's time to speak. "So, Matt," he said, "any plans on proposing soon?" Matt smiled awkwardly and said, "We've talked about the future, but we're not rushing anything." My dad smirked. Maybe that's wise. After all, trust is important. Not everyone is who they seem. The room went still. I asked, "What's that supposed to mean?" My dad shrugged like it was nothing, then pulled out his phone. "Actually, maybe we should clear the air right now." And he read aloud an email. The evidence. The email was supposedly from Matt to another woman. Flirty, inappropriate, signed with his name. My dad looked triumphant, like he'd finally exposed him. But the writing didn't sound like Matt. Weird grammar, strange phrasing. Matt immediately said, "That's not me. I've never sent that email." My dad said, "I had a friend trace it. Came from your account." My brother cut in. "Wait, you had a friend trace Matt's personal emails? Are you serious right now?" That's when I noticed something. My dad wasn't angry. He was smug. He wanted this confrontation. I told him, "Dad, where'd you get that email?" He dodged the question. My sister jumped in. Answer her. Finally, under pressure, he admitted it. He had created a fake account under Matt's name and had been sending messages to himself and others to prove Matt was untrustworthy. Then it all came out. He had called Matt's office. He had sent the flowers. He had been behind everything. My mom burst into tears. My brother stood up and said, "You've lost it, Dad." My sister called him pathetic, and my dad just sat there, stone-faced, and said, "I was protecting my daughter. You'll thank me one day." I didn't thank him. I stood up, grabbed Matt's hand, and said, "We're leaving." My mom begged me to stay, saying it was just a misunderstanding. But there was no misunderstanding. My dad had spent a year deliberately trying to sabotage my relationship. We left without dessert. I cried the whole drive home. For months, I didn't speak to my dad. My mom kept calling, saying he didn't mean harm, but I couldn't forgive it. Eventually, I told him if he ever wanted to see me again, he needed to apologize, a real apology. No excuses. 6 months later, he sent a long email admitting he was wrong, saying he let his protective instincts go too far. Do I believe he's truly sorry? I don't know where things stand. Matt and I are still together. Stronger than ever, actually. The ordeal brought us closer. He told me he'd never hold it against me that my dad did what he did. As for my dad, I keep him at arm's length. Family gatherings are polite but strained. He's not allowed to bring up Matt negatively, and if he does, I'll walk out. It's sad, because I used to look up to him. But sometimes, the people you trust most are the ones who hurt you worst. Looking back, I think my dad was scared. Scared of losing control. Scared that I'd choose Matt over him. Maybe in his twisted way, he thought he was saving me from heartbreak. But love isn't about control, it's about trust. And ironically, he destroyed mine. So if anyone reading this has a partner in your family just doesn't like, ask yourself, is it because your partner is actually bad for you? Or is someone else just trying to pull the strings? Because sometimes the problem isn't who you're dating, it's who's trying to sabotage you. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and enable notifications to not miss out on any stories.